It's 2001 and on bodybuilding.com, an online store selling fitness and bodybuilding supplements, a new line of products is being introduced as the latest advancements in supplementation for anabolic gains. Methoxyisoflavone is described as the most potent legal anabolic compound ever, with no side effects and identical doses of anabolic steroids cannot compare. Ecdysterone, a similar product, is the future of supplementation that gives you a drastic increase in lean body mass and is more powerful than the steroid dianabol. Products that use these anabolic flavones use descriptions such as the greatest breakthrough in the history of bodybuilding supplements, and testimonials suggest the possibility of gaining 7 pounds of muscle within 2 weeks. But then something happens. As time goes on, the hype starts to dissipate, supplement companies' attention moves elsewhere, and products that were once touted as the future of supplementation are soon discontinued. It wasn't the first time and certainly wouldn't be the last time supplement companies oversold the potency of their products. In spending even a small amount of time in the online fitness world, one can't help but notice there is a lot of disagreement, whether it's vegan or carnivore diets, low volume or high volume workouts, high intensity interval training or low intensity steady state cardio. Things can get pretty heated.
Because you're all freaking morons!
As with any area of expertise, knowledge is continuously evolving, and this is no different with exercise and nutritional sciences. However, a defining feature of the fitness industry is one in which aspiration, in that search for an ideal physique, combined with uncertainty, facilitated by a lack of consensus among fitness professionals, has created the conditions for what could reasonably be called the great fitness industry deception. Rather than using this uncertainty and lack of public knowledge as an opportunity to inform, it's been used as an opportunity to exploit. While the potency of anabolic flavones were hyped up in the early 2000s, by that time the fitness industry deception was already in full swing and had been occurring for decades. In 1903, as a young boy, Angelo Siciliano left Italy with his mother to live in the United States. Growing up in Brooklyn, he was often bullied, so he started working out, keeping a photo in his room of well-known professional strongman at the time, Eugene Sander. During a visit to the Bronx Zoo, Siciliano noticed a powerful lion. The lion had built up its strength, of course, without barbells and equipment, and this understanding would serve as inspiration for Siciliano's muscle against muscle training system, later called dynamic tension. In 1922, Siciliano legally changed his name to Charles Atlas, and along with his business partner Charles Roman, he set up a mail-order business for dynamic tension, the advertisements of which would be featured in hundreds of publications in the following decades. One of these ads was the insult that made a man out of Mac. Mac, a skinny weakling, gets threatened by a bully at the beach in front of his friend Grace. Frustrated at being a scarecrow, Mac decides to order Charles Atlas's book. In no time at all, Mac gets jacked, goes back to the beach and punches the bully in the face, an action which, according to Grace, makes him a real man after all. In hindsight, the claims of dynamic tension were far-fetched. While there are certainly benefits to working out 15 minutes a day, it's unlikely to turn you into a marvelous physical specimen, making your chest and shoulder muscles swell so big that they almost split your coat seams, and building mighty legs that never tire, especially when later ads would insinuate you could achieve these results in just 7 days. However, the timing of dynamic tension made it hugely successful. As Smithsonian Magazine said, exercise had been the habit of a few, and during the Great Depression of the 1930s, people were receptive to the concept of transformation. World War II was a period of technological innovation that continued into the Cold War years, as the United States and Soviet Union tried to one-up the other. Commercial aviation was growing rapidly, television was changing the cultural fabric of society, and soon people would be walking on the moon. Maybe there was a secret training system that could change you from a mouse to a man in just 15 minutes a day. And it wasn't just Charles Atlas making these claims. Mike Marvel's Dynaflex method would cram pep, vigor, and red-blooded vitality into your puny, exhausted body in just 10 minutes a day. Mr. USA's tonometric system was a simple locker room secret that the pros used to build up their bodies in just 90 seconds a day. But over time, people began to realize that getting an Atlas body in 7 days wasn't going to happen, to the extent that the overselling of these claims would be parodied. On the back cover of Bongo Comics' Radioactive Man issue number 1 in 1993, instead of the insult that made a man out of Mac, there was the hold-up that made a hero out of Mac. Instead of 15 minutes of training a day, it took Mac only 15 years of constant training to achieve both physical perfection and scientific mastery. Not with dynamic tension, but with dramatic tension, Mac could make you a hero too in only 15 years of training. This cycle of taking advantage of a lack of public knowledge, extracting as much as possible from it, and then moving on to something else when public awareness caught up, would characterize the fitness industry again and again. And by the time the 1990s came round, the fitness industry was creating a new opportunity. From the late 80s to the late 90s, the fitness industry was going through a home exercise boom. By 1997, the home exercise equipment market in the US was worth over $3 billion. While some equipment sold could of course be useful, for example allowing you to do cardio at home, many companies took the opportunity once again to cash in on the public's lack of understanding when it came to exercise and nutrition. Products were marketed as revolutionary innovations that were better than gym equipment and could give incredible results.
Does your stomach look like this? In just a few minutes a day, it could look like this. If you start using this, it's the revolutionary new Abflex, and it's so easy to use, so affordable, and so incredibly effective, it makes all these painful exercises and all this high-priced equipment totally obsolete.
Even for 1990s infomercials, the acting was pretty bad, and the audience was very likely to have been paid.
Tiger's assistants are going to attempt to break 3 cinder blocks over his stomach.
Why doesn't Martin do this? Martin's been using the Abflex longer than anybody, so his abs should be just as strong as Tiger's.
Okay, I'll do it.
Well, anyway, Martin, I'm not guarantee you.
Afflex will guarantee it.
Incredible! What an amazing display of abdominal strength!
And the industry followed a soon-to-be familiar cycle of promoting a product, and once the hype was over, moving on to another.
I've seen a lot of stomach devices, but the Ab Isolator is a breakthrough in abdominal training. As far as I'm concerned, you will never need another abdominal product. So we developed a new product that's similar to them, except for it has a different moment. It has a pivot.
While it can be argued that public knowledge would increase in the future, the fitness industry would continue to produce products targeted towards those who simply didn't know any better. By the turn of the century, internet access had been growing rapidly. Companies such as Amazon and eBay had been established, demonstrating the viability of e-commerce and providing another opportunity for the fitness industry, this time in the form of supplements. Up until that point, fitness and bodybuilding supplements had been confined to gyms, health food stores, and magazines. The internet opened them up to a population of people who didn't even know they had existed. And while there had been some buzz about creatine in the late 90s, for many people supplements were uncharted territory, and the fitness industry jumped on the opportunity. Cutting gel could be rubbed on your stomach and your abs would get ripped. BSN Nitrix promised to change a generation, and within 3 weeks, everyone in the gym would be asking what you're taking. Celtec was 880% more effective than creatine and could transform you from this to this. And taking Celtec with Nitrotech, you'd gain 15 pounds of solid muscle and get the body you always wanted. Coincidentally, you would also get remunerated. In today's world of abundant cryptocurrencies and NFTs, investors need to be on guard for potential rug pulls. A particular coin could be heavily promoted as the next big thing, causing many people to invest, hoping to make a profit when the coin value goes up. Suddenly, the creators of the coin disappear with all the money, leaving investors with a worthless coin and no way to get their money back. In what was the fitness industry equivalent of a rug pull, in 2005, bodybuilding.com introduced M1T2. In the early 2000s, bodybuilding.com had been selling testosterone precursors such as 1AD and androstenedione, referred to as either pro-hormones or designer steroids. Methyl-1 testosterone, or M1T, was a top seller. People reported quick gains, but with harsh side effects such as cramping, high blood pressure, and liver inflammation. But when the Anabolic Steroid Control Act of 2004 came into effect, which addressed the use of steroids and steroid precursors, M1T and other pro-hormones were banned. This, however, created an opportunity for a successor product. M1T2 was a next-generation muscle builder and an extreme muscle-building anabolic hormone optimizer. It was specifically marketed on the hype of methyl-1 testosterone, insinuating that M1T2 would enhance testosterone similar to or even better than the original. When it was released, it would soon be sold out. However, something didn't quite add up. People's results didn't match the expectations of a supplement that was supposedly so powerful that it was worthy of bearing the M1T name, and upon closer inspection of the ingredients, the successor to methyl-1 testosterone was primarily just a combination of herbs. Despite being among the top 10 selling testosterone supplements on bodybuilding.com upon its release, M1T2's ranking would steadily decline until the next generation of extreme muscle building supplements would quietly disappear. By the mid-2000s, the world was on the cusp of another internet revolution. YouTube was launched in 2005 and 1.5 years later was acquired by Google for $1.65 billion. Some of the earliest fitness YouTube channels were dedicated to debunking many of the fitness myths that magazines and supplement manufacturers had a financial interest in perpetuating.
You train intelligently and you train consistently. Those are the most important things. But I'll tell you this much, if I was a protein manufacturer, I'd tell you you'd need it to get laid.
But others saw the same opportunities that had driven the fitness industry to oversell their products for decades. By the late 2000s, YouTube had become one of the most visited websites in the world, meaning there was a huge audience susceptible to believing the information presented to them. Some would pour money into YouTube's advertising platform to promote their workout programs, claiming there was one weird trick to get you ripped, and that trainers hated the individual who revealed the shortcut to six-pack abs. Reminiscent of the bodybuilding courses sold in the 1950s and 60s, these programs would emphasize the ease with which you could transform your body and how it would positively impact your social life. But a closer look at their legal disclaimers revealed a more measured tone, some of which would say consumers who use our products can generally expect not to see any increase in fat loss or positive results of any kind. While this was happening, people had learned how to manipulate Google's search results, its algorithm not being as sophisticated as it is today. Using keyword domains such as fastmusclegain.com or maximizeyourmuscle.com, people were able to rank highly on Google and sell workout programs, the promotion of which habitually used the hyped-up language that was so common in the fitness industry. With these programs, you could supposedly learn the 12 little-known anabolic targets responsible for constructing a perfect physique, and how to gain 32 pounds of pure muscle mass in only 12 short weeks. The social media was pushing forward the mechanism of virality, and claims of the potency of weight loss superfoods would be shared millions of times, overwhelming the content of publications that tried to share a more realistic perspective. The acai berry, a fruit native to the Amazon rainforest, was touted as a superfood that could help you lose 15 pounds in 30 days. In 2006, sales of acai berry products in the US brought in $435,000. The following year, that figure exploded to 13.5 million, reaching peak popularity at the beginning of 2009. However, much like the bodybuilding supplements that came before, results would rarely meet expectations, and the interest that was at one time immense would be short-lived. By the end of the 2000s, the world was reeling from the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. Lehman Brothers had collapsed and filed for bankruptcy. Bernie Madoff's house of cards came falling down to reveal the largest Ponzi scheme in history, and the global financial system was, according to the International Monetary Fund, on the brink of a systematic meltdown. While the causes leading to the crisis were varied and complex, a common argument put forward was the prevalence of moral hazard. Moral hazard refers to the taking of risk without having to suffer the consequences. Financial institutions operated under the assumption they were too big to fail. They could engage in risky behavior, and if anything went wrong, governments would be there to bail them out. In other words, they could do what they wanted and there'd be a safety net. In many ways, the fitness industry has operated in a similar manner. Listing proprietary blends as an ingredient in supplements has enabled manufacturers to not be transparent about what they're putting in their products. Companies have underdosed their supplements, some even going so far as to contain none of the active ingredient the supplement is named after. That's right, maximum HMB contains no HMB. Regulation has had a hard time keeping up. Even as far back as the late 90s and early 2000s, the Food and Drug Administration admitted its hands were tied at a time when pro-hormones were proliferating. While the FDA could remove supplements from the market if they were a health hazard, a body of evidence simply didn't exist for products like androstenedione and methyl-1 testosterone. But in possibly what was the most flagrant display of moral hazard came on the 19th of November 2009. Bodybuilding.com sent an email to all its customers, advising them to discontinue use immediately if they were in possession of supplements listed in their email. The reason being that the Food and Drug Administration had found these dietary supplements to contain steroids. Far from it being an isolated incident, there were 67 products that were deemed to contain steroids, demonstrating the extent to which supplement manufacturers felt they could get away with anything. Bodybuilding.com would later agree to pay a $7 million fine as it pled guilty to selling dietary supplements spiked with steroids. A key revelation of the investigation was that an FDA compliance officer had been warning Bodybuilding.com management as early as 2007 that certain products on its website did not qualify as dietary supplements. As some supplement companies disappeared into the darkness and others scrambled to recover, either by paying fines themselves or changing their brand names, the scandal would set the scene for the next stage of the great fitness industry deception at a time when influence was shifting beyond companies to individuals. On the 6th of October 2010, Instagram was launched on the Apple App Store, racking up an impressive 25,000 users on its first day. By August 2011, 1.3 million photos were being uploaded each day, 80% of which had a filter. The term influencer was coined for users that had large followings, some of whom were able to quit their jobs and work on their Instagram profiles full-time, either by securing brand sponsorships or offering products for sale. While people had been posting fitness content on YouTube, Facebook, and other platforms for years, Instagram's popularity would push fitness content further into the mainstream. The newly dubbed fitness influencers would share workout photos, physique updates, and recipe ideas. However, in line with the historical nature of the fitness industry, some of them weren't being entirely transparent about their progress. Some would take anabolic steroids, selling workout programs and supplements on the basis of their appearance, popularizing the term fake natural or fake natty. The fake natty phenomenon, in which one pretends to be a natural while secretly taking steroids, had already been occurring for years. However, platforms such as YouTube and Instagram were now enabling people to monetize it. With a financial incentive in place, fitness influencers would make use of angles, lighting, filters, and Photoshop to stand out in what had become a very competitive landscape. While steroids could help you get an impressive physique, there was nothing quite like those Adobe gains. The fitness community would become unforgiving to fake natties. While many people feel that taking steroids is a personal decision, your body, your choice, there's less tolerance towards those selling products to impressionable people who one day hope to look like their favorite influencer, not knowing it took a generous dose of steroids to get there. In the decade plus since the emergence of fitness influencers on Instagram, the fitness industry has had its ups and downs. Companies have continued to exploit instead of inform, deceiving consumers about the capabilities of their products, and then having to pay millions of dollars in restitution. Fitness influencers have been caught up in scandals, providing generic nutrition and training programs despite claiming to offer personalized services. And fake natties continue to get caught out. But within the fitness and wider community, despite conflicts which at times can be dogmatic, there seems to be growing public awareness about how the industry operates. While the focus of this video has been on the deception of the fitness industry, there are a lot of positive aspects to it as well. There are training programs that work well, supplement companies that manufacture their products to the highest standards, and fitness influencers who inform, educate, and inspire their followers. And of course, not everyone falls completely into predefined categories of good and bad. While Charles Atlas's dynamic tension was unlikely to turn you into a He-Man in just 15 minutes a day, Atlas himself was an enduring advocate for health and exercise. Long before Hulk Hogan was telling us to train, say your prayers, and eat your vitamins, Charles Atlas was advising people to live clean, think clean, and don't go to burlesque shows. Today, there's a new cohort of fitness content creators that are giving a new generation of viewers realistic expectations about exercise, nutrition, and the industry. Some have been around for a while, providing evidence-based advice to help navigate misinformation and dubious claims that pop up now and again. Fake natties continue to be called out within the fitness community and beyond, and people are becoming more transparent about their steroid usage, sharing the impact it has on their health and performance. MuscleTech still sells Nitrotech, but no longer claims one of its test subjects gained 17 pounds of muscle in 6 weeks. BSN still sells Nitrix, but no longer calls it a muscle-enhancing phenomenon that will change a generation. All of this indicating that there's now more accountability and that people aren't so easily duped. While there will always be people susceptible to deceptive advertising and unfounded claims, progress has been made, and it appears the fitness industry is moving in a positive direction.